my old man is why I got into rugby in the first place. And, you know, he would travel everywhere. Like, he went to New Zealand with the Lions, would go to any England game, home, away, wherever, often come to some of the away European games for club and stuff like that. And when he told me in like February, March, he was like, mate, you need to stop playing. Then I was like, Jesus, well, if he's saying that, then do you know what I mean? When it's your dad and one of your biggest supporters telling you he doesn't want to see you play again, it's a bit like, am I doing the right thing anymore? Do you know what I mean?
For the love of rugby, brought to you by Blackheart. There is a new stout in town, thanks to Brewdog.
We've got a very special episode today with our co-host, teammate, and most importantly, friend, Anthony Watson.
Co-host, I like that one.
Mate,
Not friend. Nah,
Sorry,
friend.
sorry.
Nah, fuck you. One way, is it? Yeah.
My
I thought
bad,
so.
sorry, Cole.
Yeah. No, don't worry about it.
the co-host,
Yeah.
friend, teammate.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Sorry.
and you got some news. Do you want to share sort of what's been going on and how you come to this decision?
Yeah. Obviously in January, as is pretty well documented, I had a pretty serious back injury. And tried everything, to be honest with you, from then. Injections, had a surgery, more injections. And it's to the point now where, you know, I think you saw me on the way to Sale. You guys saw me on the way to Sale away. Not being able to sit on the bus on the way up probably wasn't was a good indicator of where I was going, I think. And unfortunately, I spoke to the surgeon last week, who basically advised me to retire. So that's where we're at, mate. Yes, I won't be playing again.
It's so sad. It's actually so sad. To be fair, like, and the adversity you've faced throughout your career with some of the injuries you've had, and we don't want it to be, you know, we want to celebrate your career, but it is worth mentioning, like, you have faced a number of obstacles and hurdles along your way with your playing career, with your Achilles, double Achilles, ACL, and your back, of course, and then your back again. But you're right, you know, seeing you up in Sale, mate, like, you couldn't even move after the game. Like, you had to get back on the train, you had to lay flat. Like, you know, I think we all make an effort to get out there and play, and you can play with certain things, mate. But I think you've gone above and beyond to try and push it to see if you can do that one last time. And I guess that takes its toll mentally as well, not only physically, because physically you can't do it, but also mentally it must be so hard to having to do that, mate.
No, 100%. I think, you know, once you've got one or two biases in your body with, you know, having to, you know, account for niggles and stuff like that on one side of your body, it's all right when it's one or two, but when it's, you know, 2, 3, 4 major injuries, that's when it starts stacking up, and it's like, right, well, your body can only do so much, can't it? And, you know, the Achilles one was tough, and that probably set off the knee because of, you know, all kinds of functions and stuff on that side. But it was just, I think it is just a build up of stuff mentally that makes it really difficult. Because, you know, as you know, when you go out there and just let rip, essentially, in a game, you don't have time to think about anything. There's still that at the back of your mind thinking, is my Achilles going to be all right? Is my knee going to be all right? Is my back going to be all right? How is it going to be when I get home? Am I going to be able to look after the kids and stuff like that? And, you know, the rugby stuff was hard, definitely, you know, to get over those injuries and feel 100% again. Like, it takes a long time, you know, it takes a long time to get over each of those and feel great. But the mental side that I found really, really hard with the back was going home and having to do so much rehab stuff, hanging upside down, putting all kinds of heat, ice in my back, stretching, all this stuff, and then not being able to take care of the kids, worrying about picking up my not even 1-year-old, 6-month-old off the floor because, you know, I'm worried about my back. It's just stuff like that eventually took its toll. So when the surgeon told me, I think it's in your best interest to retire, it was kind of like, to be honest with you, I probably agree at this point. So in a way that makes it a bit easier, to be honest, because you guys know what I'm like. I would have probably tried to give it a crack and tried to carry on, and it would have probably been to my detriment. So almost, I think having the decision made for me makes it a bit easier.
We can all dig in for 80 minutes or through training, but as soon as your quality of life gets affected and you are like running around in the garden, I mean, I remember it was nothing, it was Achilles tendonitis, but literally you run around trying to chase the kids in the garden and you can't. Yeah. And then it's a quality of life in that regard. And so every time you bend over, you're panicked about hurting yourself or just being of use. And I think like when you get family and kids, you sort of realise that, yeah, that's more important than rugby. And so especially when you sort of quality of life with that, it starts getting affected. That's when injuries really take the toll.
The big thing for me was when my old man is why I got into rugby in the first place. And, you know, he would travel everywhere. Like he went to New Zealand with the Lions, would go to any England game, home, away, wherever, often come to some of the away European games for club and stuff like that. And when he told me in like February, March, he was like, mate, you need to stop playing. Then I was like, Jesus, well, if he's saying that, then, do you know what I mean? When it's your dad and one of your biggest supporters telling you he doesn't want to see you play again, it's a bit like, am I doing the right thing anymore? Do you know what I mean? So it is what it is, you know, like I think after that surgery in January, I had an idea that if things didn't improve drastically, I was, you know, this was a possibility, as it is with any major injury. But I think I kind of, I'm at peace with it, and you've still got to deal with things in a certain way, in a certain time frame. But it is what it is, and there's nothing you can do about it. So do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not like I could go out there and just, well, I could ignore doctor's orders, but that would be pretty stupid. So it's just like, what's there left to do? Do you know what I mean? I can mull around over it for a long time, but I'd rather just get on with it, to be honest.
Yeah, like mate, like the thing is, you have tried. Like we sit near each other in change room. I'll come in, you're laying on the floor because you can't stand up for too long. Yeah. You can't sit down. You go in team meetings, everyone's sitting down, but you're having to stand up. Or you're sitting down, or you're laying on the floor. Like you train, you have to do all your own warm up, but then you can't move after. Like something has to give eventually, and unfortunately, it's in your back. But I just want to talk about your career highlights and sort of list some things off, mate, and then we can talk about a few of your main highlights. So you obviously represented London Irish, of course, where you began. You then signed for Bath. And I still scratch my head how you ended up at Leicester Tigers, given the man's like ability to like step, move, like, you know, you like the nice things in life, like but balance. You like the nice things in life. I just still after a total appearance of 171 times, 56 England caps, scoring 23 tries, ranked 8th on the all-time top try scoring list for England. Played in 2 World Cups. Could have done 3, but unfortunately that injury came out just like a week before we had to leave. Had it not been for that, 3 Six Nations winning medals, 1 Grand Slam, a key player in 2 British and Irish Lions tour, and 5 Lions Test cap. And you started in all 3 against New Zealand and 2 against South Africa. I tell you, mate, we've got a hell of a co-host here, haven't we? We've got our hands on an absolute gem.
Not a bad resume.
Look at that knowledge and accomplishments. When you read all that, Tone, and I'm sure you'll get inundated with messages, and rightly so, but like, what stands out for you? Like, what are the bits that you look back and you go, that was wow, like that, I'd love to relive that again, or that was everything to me?
I think first of all, just touching on joining Leicester, it cracks me up because, like you said, I mean, the first 6 months I was there, Lenny was doing this every 2 minutes, just making sure I was actually at the club.
For the listeners, that was rubbing my eyes. Yeah. Every morning I'd rub my eyes and stare at it and be like, no, it is you. You're actually at Leicester Tigers.
But, mate, I'll be honest with you. When I first joined, before I had messaged you, I thought it was all black boots and scraps every training session. So I was bricking it a little bit. So I remember driving in the first day, had my earrings in, and I was in a decent car at the time. A flashy car, as you'd say, Len. And I remember thinking, I don't know how this is going to go down. So I parked right at the back as far as possible, took my earrings in and strolled in. But, mate, the club couldn't have been any further from, and I mean this genuinely, from how I imagined it. Like, the people there are genuinely really, really, really good people. Like, there's so many across the board, coaches, staff, most importantly for me, players. We're just like, you are who you are. Like, just, there's no, you know, I don't think anyway that there's like a Leicester mold or you have to be this type of way to be a Leicester player. And I felt like it was going to be like that from the outset. Coming in, it couldn't have been more the opposite. And I've really, really enjoyed the years I've been up here and the lads that I've met and got closer with. You know, particularly, I ain't just saying this because it's you two, but you two like have become two of my very close mates as a result of being at Leicester. So those are the things I'll cherish more than anything else, to be honest with you. Yeah, there are a few things, you know, in that list, like the Grand Slam in 2016, you know, that was obviously unreal given that everyone had written us off in 2015 after the World Cup, probably rightly so. But for us to like come together as a group and just win that was amazing. And then I'd probably look to that first Lions tour in New Zealand as another special memory, just because, you know, I probably, from a personal perspective anyway, I went out there probably not as a front runner. So to, you know what it's like, you go out there and you just think, oh, I just want to be involved in the squad, or I just want this, and then you get a sniff of it, and then I want to start one test. Then you start a test and you say, oh, I want to start all three, and then it's, oh, I want to go on the next tour. Do you know what I mean? So I would say that was definitely, those two are probably my favorite rugby memories.
I'm just thinking about your flash car that you pulled up in.
You loved it, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Can we just mention that the flash car was meant to be baby blue?
It was. It wasn't though.
But Tone had it wrapped. He had it wrapped in black. But if you open up the doors, you can see the baby blue rim from the inside.
It was a trim. It was a trim.
It was a trim.
I just remember I think we had was it like a sponsors barbecue? I think you snuck out and it was electric, so he was like silently going out, trying to be discreet because Steve Borthwick was basically stood there as coach, and he's like got in his car, tried to sneak out, parked to the back of the car park. I'm like, oh
yeah, he stitched me up.
Go on. It's like Tone's trying to be humble by driving an electric car and silently escape, but he really wants everyone to know he's driving a Porsche.
You did.
Everyone just turned around looking at him. He's driving out the car park.
It was fun as well. Everyone was still at the barbecue. You've done me proper.
I'm jealous though. That's why. Jealous. I've got to drive it. Where's that rank on your top three cars anyway?
I mean, for the first 2 weeks, probably number one. I mean, its resale value is completely at the bottom.
So, which players have you really enjoyed like playing with? Obviously your mates and stuff, but like who do you really enjoy as a player being outside of?
Oh mate, the first name that comes to mind is obvious. JJ, you know, like I knew JJ from when I was about 14. So like we've spent the majority of our lives together. You know, I reckon at least 70% of my England caps would have come outside of him. And it was not that it was telepathic, because it wasn't, but I just felt like, sounds a bit sad, but I felt like I had like a security blanket in that I knew what he was going to do. I knew defensively where he would be. I'll never forget the third test in Australia in 2016. Nayavoro was on the wing. And there was no one outside him. So obviously as a winger, one-on-one, you should just go tackle him. But JJ was on my inside. So I just drifted off towards the touchline and let JJ tackle him. And he was fuming after that. But he's definitely one. I think Fordy would be another one. Fordy and Faz. I'm going to have to say Len.
You don't have to say that.
I do have to say Len. Coley, I'm sorry, brother. You might not be on this list, bro.
No, it's fine.
the playmaker.
Yeah. Man, I create things. Yeah. I was at the back
speed of ball.
I actually watched your highlights package earlier, and the back of my head comes in a few times.
Really?
So yeah.
Nice.
As yours, I'm here, and like you'll be running back from here, zooming past, and just my head goes in the camera. So, or when it flicks the end on, and you're stepping people, I'm just like 40 meters behind you.
And I want to ask, like, so when I think of yourself, I think. You think of a stadium, right? And obviously everyone's sitting down, but you're generally someone that when they got the ball, like people got off their seats. Like there was an air of expectation, like the way you moved, your speed, your agility, like it's well documented. You don't have to watch your highlights reel, like, and I don't want to embarrass you, but electric, mate. And having that ability, like not many players have that. I can't really think of many others that have that ability to generally bring excitement and engagement from the crowd when you get the ball. Did you were you aware of that? Like when you got the ball, like your attributes to step and change direction and speed and, you know, break tackles. Did you like love that part of the game? Were you aware of like that expectation of that people saw you as a game breaker, a match winner?
To be honest with you, I think it was more that I wanted to do that as much as I possibly could. And not that I expected it out of myself, but I knew that that was my best way of helping the team, because, you know, I'm not going to be Jacqueline and getting turnover, so I'm not going to influence the game that way. So that was really just my best opportunity to influence games, was to try and beat defenders or make breaks wherever I could. And, you know, I don't know if you guys experience the same, but I always found that I enjoyed the strengths of your game. You know, you enjoy working on the strengths of your game. So there was always something that I just wanted to be as good as I possibly could at. And again, going back to when I first started, my brother was, you know, probably had better feet than me. And so I always wanted to outdo him. And it was just, you know, if he was known for that, I wanted to be known for that and stuff like that. So it just, I don't know. I just guess that's what kept me going for a long time, was my brother. And then the footwork stuff was just something that I really enjoyed doing.
I know the feeling, mate.
On the plus side, Anne, you've obviously got time with the family, more things to do, like
More co-hosting.
Or the fact on Monday the 20th of January, we're actually hosting a Love of Rugby quiz. And it's going to go out to all the Brewdog bars across the country. And we will be down there, mate. You're coming to Waterloo. Are you coming to Waterloo?
I absolutely will be there.
I'm writing the questions. They're going to be some high-level rugby North stuff, all the way down to just some general rugby fun.
I'll tell you what else you're doing. Not only are you doing the questions, you're also getting a prize together, are you not? For the winners.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, yeah.
Yeah, to be confirmed.
There'll be a prize, yeah.
There will be a prize. Well, I tell you, there is actually a prize. The winners, each winner can win a free round.
In every bar, the winner of that quiz in that bar is going to get a free round of drinks on us. And the overall...
That includes you. It's coming out of your wage.
Yeah, no worries, mate, no worries.
Your appearance fee.
Got to be a bit careful now, yeah.
And then, the overall winner will get a bigger prize for. Something like a signed England shirt, something like that.
We're going to be at Waterloo.
Yep.
But of course, across all the Brewdog bars across the country, it'll start at 7 p.m. It will kick off. And it's on Monday the 20th. So get down to your local Brewdog bar and enjoy in our first ever quiz. Can't wait. And obviously you spoke about JJ playing with guys like that. Like, is there any particular coaches or any people that you want to kind of use this opportunity to thank or whatever like that?
Oh yeah, there's loads. And, you know, I'm probably going to forget some, which I'll feel pretty bad for. But I think that right at the start, at London Irish and Bath, there was Neil Hatley, who you guys would have been coached by, and Mike Ford. Those two are really, really, really influential early on in my career. But there was another guy called Dave Williams. I'm not sure you'd have come across him, a South African skills coach, but he was incredible, the most enthusiastic person I've ever met. And he had a massive influence on me. And then as it gets to, like, you know, international level, I would say Eddie was definitely massive for me. You know, as we've said before, he just used to rip the piss out of me, but it used to put me at ease and just make me feel comfortable to just go out there and enjoy playing. He was definitely a massive influence on my career. And then Steve was definitely big for me. Both when he was at England, to be fair, in a weird sort of way, because obviously he was a forwards coach. But I found he was one of those guys that when he said something, he meant it, when it was to do with rugby. And, you know, he never said anything that wasn't backed up by stats or facts or couldn't back it up. So he was definitely really, really influential as well. And Czech as well. I mean, you know, we've not had a massive amount of time together, but what he's shown me in the last 6 months in terms of how to look after the individual. And I think it's pretty crazy because two of the biggest influences on my career have probably got reputations for being like not aggressive, but you know what I mean, like out there, you know, temperish coaches.
Yeah,
and
can be confrontational.
Exactly, yeah. And I have not experienced either of those things with those two coaches. Eddie and Czech, when I spoke to Czech at the start of the season around, where I was at and my back and stuff like that, he had no interest in the rugby side of it. All he wanted to talk about was how I was doing, anything he could do to help, put me in touch with some people to speak to. And I just think that for me, that shows a different element, a different side of these coaches that doesn't often get shown. And I really, really appreciate coaches who can understand the human element of it and appreciate that. So those two definitely are up there.
Yeah, what would help with a bad back check is a massive pay rise.
Didn't go down too high.
Just got some money to just rub on their old spine. It'd probably be help. Any chance? You speak about Eddie there and making you feel comfortable. Did he have a name for you at all, or a nickname, or did he?
Nope. Don't know what you're talking about, Coley. Now.
No, I thought you were named after the best football player in the world.
That is exactly why I was actually called Pele. Yeah,
yeah.
You're right. Yeah. I wish it was that. He called me Pele because we had Roy Keane come in once, who essentially wanted to make training more competitive, and basically a team lost in training and they had to do press ups, and the analyst came up to Roy and said, "Mate, we've got a problem. Some of the boys didn't do their 20 press ups," and he's gone through the list. One guy's done 6, one guy's done 4, and this guy called Pele has done 2. And ever since then, I've been Pele. I immediately, as he said it, I tried to deflect it onto Joe Cocker-Singer. And you know what it's like when you shout too loud, you get shorted. So that was it, mate. I was Pele, and yeah, it stuck, unfortunately.
Well, talking of Pele, talking of Eddie, I actually got in touch and he sent a little tribute. But Eddie being Eddie, he doesn't stop, does he?
No, never.
So it comes in and out. I don't know if he's on a tube. I don't know where he is, right? But he's somewhere in the other side of the world. But I got to say, mate, I sent it and he responded like he was recording an audio within seconds. So here we go. You try and make out what he's saying. You can make out some of it, but here it is, mate.
Great to hear from you, mate. Hope your podcast's going well. To Anthony Watson, mate. I loved him as a player. He's one of those guys who gave you absolutely 100%. Players enjoyed playing. He had the uncanny ability to find the line. And at his best, he was a really top-class winger. And he had a great sense of humour too. He picked up the nickname Pele, which was well-deserved.
Well-deserved.
I think it was Chelsea's defender's name, the big fella. I've forgotten his name. Anyway, he was just a joy to coach, mate. Good guy, played hard, trained hard, gave everything.
What a legend, bro. I
So
love
there we
that
are.
guy.
Eddie, ambulance and all, all sorts going past, mate. But he pretty much says it there, mate. Unbelievably committed, gave everything, a joy to coach. And Pele, and he's like, he thought it was some Chelsea player, some big fella, but yeah. So there we are, mate. He had a little tribute. Talking of tributes, there's another tribute that came in, Ant.
See if you can guess who it's from. There aren't many more curious, fact-seeking, diligent professionals who looked under as many rocks as Ant did to maximise his career.
TT.
It is Tom Thompson. And if you want to hear from TT, we had an episode with him a few weeks ago. He's a great guy.
This seems to be especially rare in someone who is also so physically gifted. But Ant never rested on his abilities. He maximised his physical qualities while adding an exceptional technical side to his game. I often tell people one of the most impressive feats I've ever seen was Ant's comeback from his double Achilles rupture. To come back from those injuries, walking into England World Cup camp with barely a game under his belt, and then to be the premier right winger at the 2019 World Cup a few months later, an amazing strength of will and commitment. A truly world-class player on and off the field, oh yeah, and a very humble, decent man and a tremendous package and a bloke and friend. I hope you...
You've got to phrase that one a bit.
You've got a tremendous package, mate.
I'll take that one.
You're the full package.
I hope you look back with pride, Ant. One of the best, TT.
He's a hero. I mean, I could have easily named him as one of the biggest influences I've had coaching-wise because, as you guys know, he was special. Again, getting to know players and The way he was around the group, yeah, he was huge. And another one who never lost faith. It would be easy to stay out of contact with someone who's done their Achilles twice, who's probably not going to go to the World Cup, and he was always trying to help me. So I'll always appreciate him for that.
Mate, we've got another one here. And Ant was one of the most dangerous players I've ever played with. He could create something out of nothing. All I ever wanted to do on the inside of him was give him the ball in his hands to let him do his thing and do what he does best. One of the best teammates you could ask for. Always upbeat and gives energy. Having said all that on the field, he is an even better guy and person off the field who has raised an amazing family. It's been a pleasure to call you a teammate and even more a pleasure to call you a mate. From our kid, George.
What a hero. Jesus, these messages, bro, are going to get me flipping emotional, I'm telling you. I think it's, when you hear it from your teammates, it's different, isn't it? I don't know how to sum it up, mate, to be honest with you. It's just, I just want to say thanks to all these people. I can't keep saying thanks, but I appreciate your words, but more importantly, I appreciate these people for what they've done for me and the opportunities they've given me and lessons, like George, again, could have easily cast me to the side coming into Bath, but helped me all the way through and still would help me to this day if I needed to. And those are your real friends, aren't they? So this is why I have so much to thank rugby for, is because it's given me all these friends, all these teammates, all these experiences, and so it's yeah, I don't know what to say, mate, to be honest.
Well, and mate, it's our chance actually to thank you, mate. So incredible career. You've been an absolute pleasure to play with. You've been someone, mate, that you can rely on, someone that has showed resilience, hard work, come over obstacles, tried and tried again. Mate, you've brought smiles to people's faces. You've lit up Twickenham. You've lit up some of the biggest stadiums in the world, mate. You've generally been a privilege to get to know and play alongside. And I think the biggest thing is, mate, take it all in. No doubt everyone will be in touch with you, and rightly so, mate. You've got the absolute respect from your peers, coaches, teammates, and you've got us. You've got the co-hosts as well. So, mate, well done. Incredible.
Appreciate you, mate. Thanks, Lenny.